About a year ago, thousands of families living in the northwest region of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa were forced to leave their homes and hurt due to the military operations of the region. These families had to settle in different localities of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa as IDPs. After their displacement from their homes, the IDPs found themselves living in miserable conditions. They were exposed to multiple problems regarding hygiene and drinking water. The need for portable water and sanitation facilities quickly became too less and meager to meet the needs of a growing number of IDPs and their families, which increasingly sought shelter in the host population and camps. Kebat Jan, resident of Mara Sawad, had to live in a small village of district Mardan as an IDP. He and his family had no access to sanitation facilities. They had to defecate in open areas, which brought them and their children in very front of numerous viral and waterborne diseases. Viral and waterborne diseases hit the IDPs and their hosts alike, leaving them in an agonizing state. One day, a young man came to Kebat Jan's home and invited him to a hygiene session conducted by IRC WASH team. IRC WASH started its intervention looking into the seriousness of the health hazards faced by the IDPs and the host population in Mardan and Sawabi districts. Main objective of WASH intervention was to promote better hygiene practices among the IDP and host communities. As a part of the program, the IRC WASH teams visited the host communities to assess the sanitation and hygiene needs on ground to plan for providing the IDPs with better hygiene facilities. The IDPs were found to be living without sufficient latrines. Even the water they used to drink was unhygienic and below standards. They almost knew nothing about hygiene. IRC WASH constructed latrines, installed hand pumps with bore hole for safe drinking water, and garbage points for waste management at community level, schools and health units of Mardan and Sawabi districts. IRC WASH program was divided into 3 components and evenly executed at Union Council level, covering community, schools and health units. The hygiene promotion. For hygiene promotion, the IRC WASH teams visited the IDP localities and educated them about better hygiene practices. These sessions were started with a single family, but subsequently the scale of the exercise was increased to include communities at the Union Council level. The IRC WASH team conducted training sessions for the IDP communities. In these sessions, unhygienic practices were identified and their adverse effects on health was communicated to them. In first step, single families were targeted and trained. Female hygiene officers arranged hygiene sessions to educate the females of targeted families. So the whole family is aware of the basic problems of hygiene, and members of the family are convinced to change their living style and adopt hygienic practices. This was done in schools as well, where children belonging to the IDPs and host communities were educated and guided about better hygiene practices. Non-functional school management committees reactivated, and new junior hygiene committees, JHC, were formed, which were trained by IRC WASH team. These school management committees and the junior hygiene committees were assigned the task of taking hygiene sessions and monitor all students' unhygienic practices and were reported to SMC. Hygiene sessions were held in classrooms where students self-monitored themselves. All these hygiene sessions records were written on chart in school, and progress was shared in the IRC WASH team in their follow-up visits. The IDPs and members of the host community were also trained at the Union Council level. The IRC WASH also took steps to provide better hygienic facilities for the IDP and host communities, who were also trained to use those facilities appropriately. They were told about the use of latrines and its benefits, use of bed net, soap, safe and clean drinking water. Once the health promotion sessions were over at all 3 levels, the IRC WASH team carried out a follow-up exercise, visiting the communities and assessing the implementation of information provided to the respective communities. IRC hygiene team also visited health units and developed WMC and trained them, in which doctors and LHVs were involved. After training, the WMC members further disseminated the hygiene message to patients and community in their daily visits. The hardware component. The hardware component's primary objective is to facilitate communities by helping them build latrines so that the risk of deadly diseases is minimized. Besides, the IRC also works for installation of hand pumps with boreholes for clean and safe drinking water, provision of better sanitation and drainage facilities to check outbreak of waterborne diseases, as well as construction of garbage points for efficient management of waste and incinerators for medical waste disposal.
People had many problems, especially they had no latrines, and they were facing many diseases because of this. IRC helped them by building latrines. People had no access to clean drinking water. To solve this problem, IRC installed hand pumps for people, and time by time, IRC chlorinates the water resources.
By providing these facilities, IRC WASH seeks to make sure that the community had an environment that is clean and hygienic. Also, the goal is to ensure that community water and sanitation system was in order and properly maintained. Moreover, necessary assistance was also provided to them.
IRC constructed drains here in Asota. People are being benefited from these, and the sanitation facilities are helping to live people hygienically.
The scope of IRC WASH intervention hardware units is not restricted to work at homes, as they routinely play a constructive role in improving health conditions at various levels. The IRC WASH teams check the facilities in the targeted schools and health units, where hand washing facilities were constructed for children and patients, who were also provided with safe drinking water through installations of hand pumps or by purification of existing water sources. New latrines are constructed in many schools and health units. The existing latrines are repaired and water connections are provided through water pipes to those facilities on the need basis.
IRC installed many hand pumps for us, and they helped us getting easy access to clean drinking water. They whitewashed our places, constructed garbage points and a hand washing facility at our school, for which we are very thankful to IRC.
Water quality component. Teams visit host communities and collect water samples from various sources, then test them qualitatively, and if these samples are not found suitable for drinking, necessary action is taken to make the water drinkable. The remedial measures include measure, chlorination and filtration of water. In case chlorination fails to produce desired results, the IRC WASH reconstructs the water sources.
When we had the IDP crisis, IRC supported us during the camp management crisis, and it supported us in the WASH activities in the camps. It set up many toilets for the IDPs. It set up water systems, drinking water systems for the IDPs at that time. And over the period of time, this cooperation, this coordination with IRC has continued.
The IRC WASH, following its training of IDPs and community members at home level, incorporates water management committees, which subsequently work as local guidance unit. WMCs are trained to help the local and IDP communities to adapt themselves to better hygienic practices. These water management committees are mainly responsible for the operation and maintenance of hardware facilities and dissemination of hygiene messages at all levels. LHVs, the members of WMCs at health units, disseminates message to the patients and also forward the hygiene messages to LHWs. LHWs spread the hygiene messages to each house in their planned visits. IRC also works for capacity build-up along with training of WMCs. IRC WASH teams also train TMA, PHED members about their role in public hygiene. After these trainings, the TMA, PHED, teachers, doctors, LHVs and LHWs play their due roles in their respective fields.
IRC conducted trainings about hygiene and health. After these trainings, the hygiene condition was improved. In these trainings, both male and female staff are trained in all aspects of hygiene. LHVs are trained here, and they train LHWs who train people about hygiene.
Hygiene campaigns were arranged for dissemination of hygiene messages to masses. In such campaigns, transit walks were organized towards the end, where people and school children in school hygiene campaigns conducted transit walks and pointed out bad behaviors, conditions, and make community realize the unhygienic behavior, and to create awareness among people about healthier life practices, better use of hygiene facilities, and benefits of these practices. All these hygienic practices ultimately proved to be very effective and successful in improving and putting in place better and healthier lifestyle for both the IDP and the host communities. Through hygiene promotion program, the IRC WASH was able to perform a commendable job in bringing about major behavioral changes in the IDP and host communities who adopt and continue to follow standard hygienic procedures even after return to their homes. Cabot John and his family fully switched to better hygiene practices. They promised to follow these practices even after return to their home, where they will live healthy ever after.